The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich. We are a podcast dedicated to giving a voice to the disability community. We do that by having guests with a disability on to tell their stories, and also the organizations that provide programs and services for our community, and let them kind of share what they do. So today we've got a person, kind of like last week. It's a person with a disability who works with an organization, or actually I think founded it, and we'll hear more about that a little bit later on. But Addie is here. How you doing?
Hi, I am here.
With the weekend away behind you, right?
Yes. I am glad to be back in my own house.
Yeah.
Beautiful and wonderful to be able to go away, but I don't know if you're like me, but I'm like, I need my things. Whatever those things.
Right, exactly.
Whatever you convince yourself that your things are that you need.
Yeah, I think most people feel that way. It's nice to travel, but man, it's nice coming home too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to tell us about? Any highlights? No, didn't need to get bailed out or anything like that?
I did not get bailed out. I did not have to call you and ask for money.
Yeah.
No, we had a nice time. We went up for a friend's birthday and doing some businessy stuff, and we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And then yesterday, we decided we were going to make Christmas for her kids. So we put up their Christmas tree and had a fire in the fireplace. It was cold up there.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect. So it was fun. It felt very warm and cozy.
Kind of helps you get in that mood, right?
No, I came home now and I'm like, where's my Christmas stuff? He was like, oh, great.
Yeah,
so,
got to do that.
How about you?
I know I've got that on my list of things to do. Actually, I've started kind of putting stuff in my Amazon, inbox there, cart.
Yeah.
Because I think every year, I've thought of this for years and years and years. After Christmas, I think I got to start, just start at the beginning of the year, just kind of putting things away and that kind of thing. And I never do. So this is actually pretty early for me to start, putting some things away and
start being organized.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give myself too much credit quite yet. So yeah, but I was thinking
it's okay. We're almost halfway through November, which seems like crazy and impossible.
By. Absolutely zooming by. Absolutely.
Yeah, for real. The whole year was like.
It was I was going to say it didn't have much going on this week, but it turned out that there was a few things. They do a thing here, and this kind of started a few years ago when some power lines started a big fire that a lot of devastation from that fire. So the power companies now turn the power off in certain areas when the wind starts to blow.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa.
And I live in one of those areas, and knock on wood, I've missed quite a few. I get the alerts that we may be turning your power off, and they don't. But this time they got me, and I it went on and on and on. It went for, I think, about 35 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I had just gone to the store and, got a bunch of groceries. So, I just really didn't even open the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's what my mom always says.
Yeah. And it stayed, when I did open it, real fast, I could feel feel that kind of cold blast. So I think we were all right there. But I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. They give you a warning that they're going to turn it off. They turn it off. Then the wind starts blowing. And I'm like, well, they say they have to inspect the lines. Well, why did you turn it off before the wind even blew, before there was any issue with the lines?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then when they turn it off, 2 blocks from here, the closer to where the wind really kind of comes down through the canyon, their lights are still on. Their power was still on.
What's going on? Do you just pick who has a turn?
It just doesn't make any sense. So it makes you kind of surly. You're at first it's like, okay, this won't be long, and then it keeps going and it keeps going. Anyway, sometimes I feel like I whine a lot on here, but anyway, got through that.
It just makes you more appreciative of the people in Florida and North Carolina who are still trying to figure it out.
And that did cross my mind. Absolutely, I thought this is nothing. Compared to what's happening there. Yeah. So I'm not cold hearted. I don't have a little black heart like Grinch, you know.
The Grinch?
Yeah.
We'll be checking you closer to Christmas.
Okay. Yeah, keep an eye on me. And we had our art gallery fundraiser on Saturday night.
Yeah, how did that go?
Really, really well. You know, congratulations to all the people that, you know, and Anthesis that worked so hard on it. You know, it was initiated by the board, and, you know, I can't take any credit for it other than just trying to get the word out. But, you know, there's people that really spent a lot of time on it. And it came together very nicely. It was, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking art gallery. I'm thinking of paintings on the wall in a gallery. Well, it was just so diverse in the art. It was textiles and sculptures and paintings, and then we had a lot of
museum.
Kind of, yeah, really
Cool.
good. It had, you know, hors d'oeuvres and drinks and all that good stuff. So it was fun. And our participants, we have some very talented art creators as participants at Anthesis. They brought their stuff, got to set up tables, and sold quite a bit of it. Now, and that goes back to them, so they can use it towards some of the programs that they've said they want to do. You know, they've initiated them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all in all, it just worked out really, really well. So, and also happy Vets Day today, Veterans Day.
Yes,
I want to thank all of our veterans for their service. Taking my veteran buddy, we do it every year. Go out to dinner, so we're doing that tonight.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
No. All right.
I'm like, whoa, what day is it? What time is it? You know, it's the travel crazies.
And you took off, Friday to go?
I went Thursday night after
Thursday
work.
night?
So I literally got off of work, and in 30 minutes I had to get to the airport. So.
Away you went. Okay, yeah. So she was going to try, while she was on the road, Addie, to be here for the interview, which we did a few days ago, but didn't make it, but that's fine. I soldiered on. And
Doug held it down.
Yeah.
Doug held it down.
Yeah, so if you're wondering, where's Addie in the interview? Yeah, she wasn't here, but she'll be back next week.
I was there in spirit.
Yes, absolutely. Felt it all the way through the interview. So we've got Meghan Kennedy on today with Epilepsy Education Everywhere. Fascinating stuff. So we'll talk to her, and then we'll be back after that to tell you about some more events that are coming up, that kind of thing. Want to thank Aguiar Professional Training for all their support. We'll hear a message from them and then be right back on Walk and Roll Live.
At Aguiar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Aguiar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Aguiar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
And we are back to Walk and Roll Live. Thank you so much for listening in. Today, we've got a great guest going to tell us all about a great organization that she works with. So we're going to start with her introducing herself.
Hi, my name is Meghan Kennedy. I'm with Epilepsy Education Everywhere. I'm actually the founder of it, too. So,
okay.
Yeah. And main reason, I'm sure this will be one of the questions, is how I got involved is because I am actually a 38-year veteran this month for epilepsy. So.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. A 38-year epilepsy veteran. There we go.
There we go. Well, yes,
Yeah.
That's actually a couple of questions that I had. Wanted to find out, your involvement, how you got motivated and got involved. And then I just wanted to start with kind of that groundwork and learn a little bit about, what epilepsy is all about, what it's like for somebody that's living with it day to day.
It's one of the things that's one of those questions a little hard to answer only because it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
That whole thing, they say everybody's body is different. There's actually over 40 types of seizures and seizure syndromes out there. I couldn't tell you about every single one of them, but I can tell you about what's happened to me.
Yeah.
So basically for me, when I first was having a seizure, my first known seizure was actually in college. I was on the phone talking with my college roommate, not my college roommate, with one of my best friends from grade school in my dorm room. And all of a sudden I wasn't talking to her. She had no idea what was going on. And I was on the phone with her long distance. And of course, that was when you paid minute by minute.
Right.
Unlike today, big difference. And she stayed on the phone with me for quite a while until I was able to communicate with her. And I had no idea what had happened. She said, okay, go see the doctor. And due to history of febrile seizures when I was a child, they said, okay, you need to go see a doctor, go see an neurologist, and let's see what's going on with you. They wanted to play it safe. And eventually it did, after all the different testing, it did lead to a diagnosis of epilepsy. Now, one thing to point out is there are a lot of kids out there who do have febrile seizures. That's simply a seizure brought on by a high fever. However, a febrile seizure is what's known as a non-epileptic seizure. So my seizures, I did have what they used to call grand mal. Now it's generalized tonic-clonic seizure. They keep changing the names on us. I had those for like 1 year. I had those. I don't know why. I called 95 the year from HE double toothpicks. How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you about terminology before we got on here.
It's wide open, whatever.
There we go. Okay, good. The year from hell. 95, the year from hell. Okay. But the majority of the time, I would have what's known as at that point, a partial complex seizure, now known as a focal seizure with impaired awareness. So when I would have a seizure, most of the time, I would know it was coming on. I'd have a little aura, or now they call it, a focal seizure with unimpaired awareness. Okay. Or partial awareness. I forget like I said, they keep changing the terms. They make them harder on us.
And as time has gone by, Megan,
yes.
Do you have a better sense of when they're coming on, with your experience?
Actually, the good news is that for years they've been controlled with the medication and everything. Good. But it took 12 years to find the right drug cocktail.
Wow.
Including going through a clinical trial, which is a whole nother story there. So, But for me, when I have a seizure, or when I was, it would be that aura, which to me was either a sudden, intense feeling of fear, an extreme, like this metallic taste in my mouth, or this odd rolling sensation over my body. And for those of you here in California, I grew up on the East Coast. And so I never really experienced earthquakes, of course. I dealt with hurricanes. And I woke up in the middle of the night one night, back I think it was 2004, when there was the Joshua Tree quake, thinking, oh, I'm about to have a seizure, because I was having this odd rolling sensation over my body. And turned the TV on, didn't see anything, because I realized I'm too alert to be having a seizure.
Gotcha.
Even though I'm half asleep, I was too alert to be having a seizure. And I wound up realized, okay, that's not a seizure, it's not an earthquake, okay. But about 5 minutes later, there was a big jolt, and turned the TV on. By that point, they were talking about, it's like, oh, okay, that was a quake. And about an hour later, you had the rocking and rolling earthquake. So that night, I learned that just like there's different types of seizures, there's different types of earthquakes. You can't go by what you see on TV.
Absolutely. Yeah. Growing up here, I can attest to that. Yeah. Some are the jolt, some are the rolling, some are different.
Yeah. But if anyone's ever been laying in bed with that rolling earthquake feeling, that's what it feels like for me when I'm about to have a seizure. That's what it would be, probably about 80 to 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But again, everyone's different. Some people have auras, some people don't. Some people have the partial seizures. Some people have the generalized seizures. Some people can literally have hundreds of seizures a day.
Yeah.
And there's people who are born with it, and then there's people like me who aren't diagnosed until they're an adult. That
was my next question is, and I'm sure, like you say, it's probably a different answer for every person, but is it something that comes later in life, or some people start out with it? So it's both.
Yeah, we've worked with people who are parents of a child just diagnosed with epilepsy. But then one of our prior board members, he actually wasn't diagnosed until he was in his 50s.
Wow.
So like I said, it can happen at any stage in life. And also there are people that I know who had epilepsy as a child and then no longer have seizures and are off medication and everything.
Wow.
So again, it's that, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen, and why it happens to one child and not another, they don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, it's that whole, your body is always changing, and maybe whatever was causing the seizures finally got the body corrected itself. You never know.
Yeah.
That's my theory. There is no medical proof behind that, but that's my theory. So
is there research that's going on trying to find, I don't even know if this is the right word, a cure for it? Or is it mostly the research is geared towards treatment of the symptoms?
Both. So,
yeah.
They do want to find a cure. In fact, there is an organization, I believe they're based out of Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, but at least they're back in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually, their name is, Cure Epilepsy, and then there's organizations.
Right to the point.
Right to the point.
Yeah.
Then there's organizations like ours that are more general. We want to just get the word out there, support the people with epilepsy, get them to the resources that they need.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do is going out to health fairs and spreading the word about epilepsy. Right now we've got the Purple Epilepsy Project going on, where we had our volunteers reaching out to places around the country to go purple for epilepsy this month.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just got lucky. I reached out to you to invite you on the show and learned that it's Epilepsy Awareness Month. I wish I could say I was on the ball enough to put that together, but it's great to have you this month. And I don't even have to ask the questions. You're just kind of going where I want to go. Yeah, I was curious about, the organization itself, Epilepsy Education Everywhere, and what you do on a day-to-day basis. What kinds of programs and services do you offer?
Yeah. So, like I said, we are out there with health fairs. In fact, I feel really bad. We actually had to turn some down because we got requests for 3 health fairs on the same day this fall. So,
well, let's plant that seed in people's mind, because we'll get to it later in the interview. But if you're looking for volunteers, kind of think about that as we're talking with Meghan.
Yes, we could always use more volunteers. So hey, but no. I was also commenting about different organizations. So some of them are specific to a type of epilepsy. LGS is Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. And then I know there's another one that I was about to say, and I can't remember. I'll remember later. Mm-hmm. I call that brain freeze, and I blame that on the medication. Of course, now I can also blame it on age, okay? But I've been blaming it on the medication for years. So let's just say when you have epilepsy, even when you're on the medications and it's controlled, there are times that you just, in a sense, for lack of a better phrase, spaced out. You forget where you're about to go.
Yeah.
And
as long as you come back.
As long as you come back, and as long as you're able to still communicate and everything, although it's like, okay, hold on a second, what was I about to say? But a lot of my friends with epilepsy also, deal with similar things. But when you have epilepsy, you're dealing with it on a daily basis, even when it's controlled, because you're having to remember to take the medications.
Yeah.
You're having to make lifestyle choices. There are people with epilepsy. I went 9 years without a license. I was able to get it back, but I went 9 years without a license. And then, but I have friends who have never driven or just haven't driven for years and maybe just got their license back.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine, people do take things like driving for granted, but it is a thing that if you have issues, you shouldn't be out there, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
But, there are times where I will still take Uber or Lyft, or I've now qualified for the dial-a-ride, because not because of my epilepsy, but because of other health disorders that have shown up as an adult.
And what is that?
I now also have fibromyalgia and arthritis and diabetes and a few others. So I'm a collage of disabilities.
Yeah. I always say, if you don't have a disability yet, wait. It is as you age. If you're lucky enough to age, it'll find you in some shape or form.
There's some days where it's like, my body just says, or I know that there's a lot of things going on, and so just to play it safe, I'll use the dial-a-ride that day to get to work. And then my husband, the way his schedule works, he'll pick me up from work, So
I was going to say, you just to learn how important being able to drive is, just take a day and just, don't drive, but still go about the things that you need to do and see how inconvenient it could be to find somebody to give you a ride or whatever.
Right. People thought I was a bit crazy when I moved out here to California, and I'm a Marine Corps brat, so I've lived quite a few places. And being that this is going to be airing, I believe, on Monday, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It'll
Okay.
be on Tuesday, yeah.
So we'll say happy belated Marine Corps birthday and happy belated Veterans Day to everyone out there.
There we go. I like it.
How's that? Okay, because Marine Corps birthday is Sunday, and Veterans Day, of course, everyone knows is Monday. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So needless to say, it's just one of those things where you have to make those choices, and we also have people who I've had to make adaptations at work, and there were times when I was changing careers. Or I shouldn't necessarily say changing careers. I was starting my career as a librarian, and I went to a conference. I'd just gotten my master's degree, went to a conference. I had to be looking at those descriptions of all of the jobs to see if driving was a requirement. Because that was a time when I didn't have my license. And so there were some that I just automatically had to say no to because I knew I couldn't meet their requirements.
Yeah.
And then there were some who, as we were interviewing, found out that, oh, wait, okay, driving is going to be needed. I didn't know until the fact. Or like this one, it turned out when I went to interview for the one I came out here for, I was reviewing things the night before and it mentioned a license, but there was nothing in the description that mentioned
driving.
So I called and I said, well, I just want to let you know I don't have a license, but there's nothing in the description. So she said, well, let me call and check and let's still meet tomorrow. Turned out it was just a formality that they put in there. So
gotcha.
It's one of those things that never hurts to ask, but also it's a matter of you have to be careful as to disclosing things too, because people can also, misconstrue things.
Yeah. How has your experience been with accommodations and that kind of thing for your disability over the years?
Overall, pretty good. My recent job, we've made some accommodations, but that wasn't due to the epilepsy. That's due to some of the other issues going on.
Yeah.
And they've been very good. And the ADA actually started like two months after I graduated from college.
Oh, okay. So you've been there from the beginning. Just wanted to ask about, what do you talk about at a typical outreach stop? What are you trying to educate the people about if you have that moment with them as you're at a busy event?
Yeah, so when we're at an event, the biggest thing is just simply, we'll have people, there'll be people who will stop with conversations and people will just sort of walk by, get a little bit of information.
Yeah.
And, I personally don't like to be, too like, oh yeah, because it's like there's so much going on and they might be looking for something specific or going to meet someone. But I figure if they're, I always say, oh, did you have any questions? And if they do, great. If not, then just let them, go on or say, feel free to take some information.
Yeah.
And, we have our handouts and everything that then everyone can learn from, even if they can't talk right then. But, most of the time we have people asking it simply they're curious about epilepsy just because they want to learn.
Yeah.
Or maybe they know someone with epilepsy, whether it be a friend or a family member. Or I think some of the more common conversations I have are with either someone who has epilepsy themselves or maybe their child has epilepsy, especially when it's someone who it's new to them.
Yeah.
And so they're wanting to know, what's it like? What can I do? What are my resources? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when it's always nice when I have someone else with me, and then they can handle
and you get into a little bit more deeper conversation.
Well, I can do a little more in detail, with people, and everything. And
are there some misconceptions that you find a lot of people have?
Yeah. I don't think there's as many as there used to be.
That's good.
And just one thing to note that has popped into my mind a couple of times, because especially with technology. Technology, you love it and you hate it. You saw what just happened to us here.
Right.
But the technology has changed significantly since I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Back when I was diagnosed, they basically would do a blood test. They would be doing different tests like either a CT or an MRI. They'd be doing an EEG, which is an electroencephalogram, checking out your brainwaves, and they're still doing that. But what it is they're ruling out because I kept thinking there's a blood test for epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
I found out, no, there's not a blood test for epilepsy, but they're ruling out other things. Because a lot of people can have a seizure and not have epilepsy. I'm sort of getting off track here. But getting back to the technology thing, yeah, we still have all of that. But I was watching a show. Okay, I'm dating myself here. But I was rewatching an old show from when I was a kid called Emergency.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was like, they brought someone in who had a head trauma. And I'm like, why aren't they doing an MRI? And then I remembered, oh, yeah, they didn't even have MRIs back then.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
They didn't even have the CT scans back then. It was just the X-ray. And I'm like, well, how do you tell? Come on, dude. And like, oh, yeah, duh, So technology's come a long way in my lifetime. And even since I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So now you have these apps that people can use to help track the seizures.
Oh, okay.
To help them, keep track of things, keep their own seizure diary. I had to keep it by paper when I did it. There's also these apps like things like this smart monitor, which initially was a smart watch. Mm-hmm. And now it is an app on a watch. And there's other types of apps like that will enable people to be alerted when someone's having a seizure. So when the smart monitor first came out as a watch, it was connected to your phone and you would preset it to contact and text people, kind of thing. Then it gave people, especially, that extra freedom, to get out, especially if they had issues with their seizures and stuff. Because I had a time where I was afraid to live alone on my own.
Yeah, it gives you that extra security that there's somebody else that can be alerted when you need help. Yeah. And then there's devices like the SAMI and what's the other one I'm thinking of? MFit monitor. So the MFit monitor goes under the bed, whereas the SAMI is a device that is a video camera that parents can have for the kids. Because I've had these stories of parents who are sleeping in the children's room in case the child has a seizure at nighttime. Yeah.
I might have mentioned SUDEP before, or at least I thought about it. SUDEP is sudden unexpected death to epilepsy. So people can die from epilepsy. Sometimes it's due to an injury from it, but then there's those unexpected, especially at nighttime. That's what they call it, SUDEP and all that. And there's organizations like the Danny Did Foundation and the Chelsea Hutchinson Foundation who lost kids to epilepsy, and they started that to raise awareness for SUDEP and getting these devices to people because they're not covered by insurance or service dogs, because there are seizure dogs out there, various things like that. So a lot of it is getting them connected with these people to get what they need and all that. So.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities for advocacy too. And is that something that your organization does?
Yeah, and that's where things like I guess it depends on how you look at advocacy. To me, advocacy is getting out there and raising awareness and all that. Yeah. And I figure every time I'm talking to someone, I'm raising awareness for epilepsy.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
working for change.
That's where the PEP project comes in. So I like to use acronyms, and for us, PEP is the Purple Epilepsy Project.
Okay.
And so as I think I mentioned before about getting places, or volunteers for reaching out, getting places to go purple for epilepsy.
Yeah.
And as I spoke with them this morning, just having a quick follow-up, I forget how many they've reached out to between them, but we've had 45 confirmations of places going purple at some point this month. Most of them were already back on November 1st, because we were shooting for November 1st with the beginning of Epilepsy Awareness Month.
Okay.
But
is this something you do every year?
We actually just started it this year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it locally with, if you guys are listening to this and you're in Southern Inland Empire, you've probably seen the M in Moreno Valley.
Yeah.
So we've done it every year for about 3 or 4 years since they started changing that colors. But we decided to expand it because what triggered that idea was last year I was doing research at work because I'm a librarian by day, epilepsy advocate by night. How's that? Okay. But we were doing a Red Ribbon Week event, and I saw all these places going red for Red Ribbon Week, and I thought we can do that for epilepsy.
Yeah, more of a national.
Make it more national. Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually started it. Our volunteer, one of our volunteers at the time, she made a list of places that she could tell had changed colors for awareness for different causes. Mm-hmm. And that list keeps growing, and that list is now about 450 long, but we've added a lot of those in the last few weeks,
Good.
Recent research. So we weren't able to reach out to all of those places this time, but we're going to be reaching out to them again.
Yeah.
But we had about 20 to 25 places go purple for International Epilepsy Day, which is the second Monday of February. And then we also had another 20 to 25 places go purple for March 26th, which is Purple Day for Epilepsy, which is now an international event started by a young girl in Canada and by the name of Cassidy Megan. So I like that we share the name.
Like the name, yep.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's Epilepsy Awareness Month here in the U.S., and people might say, well, why is there Purple Day in March, but Epilepsy Awareness Month is in November? Well, she's in Canada, and in Canada, their Epilepsy Month is in March.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
lots of opportunities to bring it up. I like it.
Yeah. So, like I said, some of the places that have gone purple this month already are some of the more well-known places are Niagara Falls, the Willis Tower.
Do the whole falls go purple?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be dramatic, huh?
Yeah. And then we had a place called the Silos in South Carolina. We have a place called JL Tower up in Alaska going purple next week. So every day we're posting what's going purple.
Yeah.
That day, at least that's confirmed with us, because we know that we've had some post confirmations. After the fact, people say, "Oh, we went purple."
Yeah. But now you're getting it ahead of time, getting some
and then you think of
pictures of it. Good.
Yeah, all those places that go purple that just don't tell us, but they're going purple.
Yeah.
So we're only able to list those that have confirmed with us in advance. So but even so, we're pretty happy to be helping raise awareness in that respect.
Do you have an idea of how many, say, Americans, let's just go with that, that are dealing with epilepsy?
Yeah, it tends to change a little bit, but last I heard was 3.4 million.
Wow.
And about 400,000 to 500,000 are children, the rest are adults.
Gotcha. So some significant numbers.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. And one of the statistics that really has not changed much either is they say that 1 in 10 people will have a seizure in their lifetime. 1 in 26 will develop epilepsy.
Wow.
And that 1 in 10 people that's a lot. Why aren't there more people? But that's because I mentioned those non-epileptic seizures earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, that febrile seizure, the high fever, or other people who might have had a brain injury, or even for example, in college, my roommate and I, we always joke we made the perfect pair because she has diabetes, and when her blood sugar got low, she was prone to seizures. And then I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So it was actually the first seizure I ever witnessed was with her when she had one. And I didn't know what to do at the time because I was always the one having the seizure. Yeah.
So let me see if I got my head wrapped around this. So there are seizures that individuals can have that are not diagnosed as epileptic seizures.
Yeah. So there's non-epileptic and there's epileptic seizures, correct.
And I don't even know if I want to ask this because it might get too complicated, but how do you determine the difference?
Well, it's a matter of the doctor has diagnosed you with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Then it's an epileptic seizure. Okay. But if you don't know someone has been diagnosed with epilepsy and they're having a seizure, you call 911.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because if they're not diagnosed with epilepsy, it could be their blood sugar's low. It could be that they're dealing with some other issue.
So many things.
There's so many reasons out there that someone could have a seizure that are not epilepsy related.
Yeah.
Now, if you're with someone and they have epilepsy and they have a
seizure. Gotta ask that. So if you are with somebody, there's some good tips on what to do in that moment?
It depends on the kind of seizure.
Mm-hmm.
So the one, like I said, what people typically think of is the people rolling on the ground, shaking on the ground.
Yeah.
In that case, you want to turn them on their side, get something under their head, because you turn them on their side because one of the old myths is that they're going to swallow their tongue. You can't swallow your tongue.
Okay.
But you don't want your tongue to block your airway either. And you also don't want, like, sometimes people might vomit. You don't want them to aspirate either.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that way, if they do happen to vomit during the seizure, it'll, gravity will take its course.
Yeah.
I know it might be a bit harsh for some people, sorry, but it's life. But turn them on their side, put something under their head. I even say, even if all you have is your purse, your knees, or something, put that under their head, because it's better that they hit that than they hit the concrete, And you just have to stay with them, time it. The rule of thumb is if it goes more than 5 minutes, or if the seizures keep repeating themselves, then call 911. If you know someone with epilepsy, ask them, what do you want me to do? That's the best thing to do, because they know.
Once the episode is over.
No, if you know they have epilepsy, say, hey.
I see. Be prepared.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, be prepared. Ask, give them a chance to let you know what they want you to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally the rule of thumb is you wouldn't call 911 unless you don't know it's a seizure. I mean, if you don't know if they have epilepsy, if they've injured themselves, if they're pregnant, or if, like I said, if the seizures are recurring or have gone more than 5 minutes. And the reason I tell people, okay, if I have a seizure, I don't want you to call 911 unless I injure myself. Because by the time they get there, then guess what?
It's all over.
Pretty much, it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm in what's called the post-ictal state, and we've just wasted their time. I'm not going to be able to communicate with them. I've had a lot of friends who get taken to the hospital because they can't communicate and get hit with these charges. And there's probably, in my case, I think of someone else who probably needs their help more than I did.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But the thing is, talk to your friend, talk to your colleague, say, what do you want me to do? Like with my work, I always just say, when I start a new job, I go to my boss after I start. I don't tell them during the interview, of course, but after I've started the job.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, just wanted to let you know I have epilepsy. What do you want me to do? And I've had times where they've had me do a presentation to the staff about epilepsy. Sometimes, one time they had me just write things down in an envelope, and we kept it at the front desk. So if anything happened, they could just give it to the EMTs right away.
Yeah.
Other times, they just wanted me to send out an email, and then people could come to me as they wanted. So every place handles it a little differently.
Yeah, very good.
But I sort of leave it up to them, but I'm being a little more proactive and all that on it too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, but it's like, if we don't talk about it, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then my kind of seizures, I could be wandering around stumbling. It looks like I'm drunk, and I just tell people, just stay with me. Just keep talking to me, because I can't hear them or see them, but just keep talking calmly to me, and don't stop me unless I'm about to, like, say, if I'm about to walk in the street in front of a bus, or maybe walk down a flight of stairs, please stop me then, Although I have walked down a flight of stairs during a seizure. Yeah. Wow. I was in my apartment and woke up outside came alert outside the apartment complex.
And no memory, but you had to go down the stairs. Yeah. Well, like you say, there's, it's so different from person to person. So it sounds like it's very important to let somebody know, what it's going to look like and what to do for me if I have a seizure.
Right. Yeah. Right, yeah.
What is the aftermath like? Can you share that with us? I've heard it's very exhausting.
Yeah, again, different for everyone.
Yeah.
I mentioned post-ictal. That's the term they use for afterwards. For me, the best thing for me is simply just to take a nap. Because, in a sense, when you've had a seizure, your brain has been on overload. It's like this electrical storm has been going on in your brain.
Yeah.
And so fatigue is a huge thing. I know there's people who are fatigued for days, but I'm not saying I'm not fatigued longer than those 20 minutes, but that 20-minute nap really did a world of good.
It helps. Good.
Initially after the seizure, and so that was one accommodation people work would make for me, is they'd let me go take that nap.
Yeah.
But I'd say I remember when I was working, again, this was back at the University Library in Colorado, And I'd had a seizure, and I couldn't talk to someone. I wouldn't be able to carry on this conversation with you like we did because my brain can't focus on anything.
Yeah.
But I could sit down and just check books in. Something simple like that. I could do that,
Yeah.
But I would be saying a sentence and I couldn't remember what I just said and what I was about to say, and I've even had seizures where I've been sitting at my desk and no one in the room knew I had a seizure because they're that subtle for me.
Yeah.
Not for everyone else, but for me, that they can be that subtle.
Yeah. Well,
My dad calls it my third base coach routine because it looks like I make hand gestures like a third base coach.
Oh.
Yeah. But again,
loved ones. So for somebody that maybe has a loved one that's just gotten the diagnosis, what kind of words of encouragement do you have for them? I mean, I'm sure they're frightened, and you hear this news and first response is to be frightened about it.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is just remember you're not alone.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. Like I said, remember I said 3.4 million people here in the U.S. have epilepsy. And when you think of 1 in 26 are going to develop epilepsy, you probably know someone out there with epilepsy. You just don't know it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the biggest thing is remember you're not alone. Don't be afraid to reach out and, ask about it. See if you can find a support group in your area or even, just someone who has had epilepsy or has epilepsy and might be able to answer your questions and be there as your support.
Yeah.
Because the doctors, yes, they're there, but yet they can't be there all the time, and they're there to treat you. But it's also good to have that encouragement from other people, and whenever you know someone else who's dealing with it, even if it's a little different than yours, that big thing of knowing you're not alone is a big.
Absolutely.
And oh gosh, yeah. See, you just brought back another memory. So. Soon after, not necessarily soon after I signed up, but like I said, in college, was probably my first advocacy. And when I did my speech class, I did a speech about the more main types of epilepsy. And of course, what I talked about then was very different than what I talk about now. But we had 2 peer reviewers in the class, and one of them wrote on hers, and I'm assuming her just because it was a more fancy handwriting. She said, "Thank you, I have epilepsy too." But never came and talked to me about it, and I so wish she had because back then I knew no one with epilepsy.
Yeah,
yeah. So I wish people. I know there's tons of people I know who are open about it, but I wish so many more would be open about it.
Do you feel like over the years it's making some progress in that direction where people?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is
good.
Yeah, it's been making progress, and it's been making progress in many ways. In regards to people being, talking about it, a lot of these misnomers getting out, getting squashed, but on occasion they still, reek to the surface. But also, like I said, just even though there's a lot of treatments out there, technology has made a lot of progress. The downside is we still don't have a cure.
Yeah, yeah.
And you still have people out there who, no matter what treatment they try, cannot get control of their seizures and are living, these lifestyles from day to day, scared from day to day.
Yeah.
So people see me and think, oh, anyone with epilepsy can get out there and work and everything. Well, that's not the case.
Not the case. So do you have fundraisers during the year to fund your work or to fund the research?
Yeah, we had some before COVID, but you know how things happen, so we just have to get back to that. We're working on getting back to that, so hopefully next year we'll have one. How's that? And
let us know.
Yeah,
we'll put the word out.
As for a big fundraiser, but here's a couple little things that we have going on that are ongoing fundraisers. So if anyone out there is shopping at either Ralph's or Food for Less, we're signed up with them.
Oh, okay.
And you can sign up. You just go on to look under community resources when you sign into your account, and you can select us. And even if you don't select us, go in and select a nonprofit. That means every time you shop there, a portion of it's going to your nonprofit. But feel free to select Epilepsy Education Everywhere. We're happy to take your money, okay? And
put it to good use.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get more resources out there, all that. And then also another one that we're connected with for the community resources is Provident Bank. So those are all local, but still everyone out there listening, feel free to add us to your list. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of local, what are some opportunities for volunteering? You say you need some volunteers, work outreach, or whatever you need to do if somebody wants to help out.
Yeah. So, need to say, the more volunteers, the better. Of course, the more volunteers means we'll also need a volunteer coordinator,
Yep.
But, people who can help with things like social media. And a lot of the things that we do can be done virtually. Believe it or not, right now we have volunteers from Maryland to here to California working with us. So people think just because they're, in another state, or maybe, because they can't drive or something, doesn't mean you can't help. So what I like to do when there's a lot of things. If you go on our Facebook page, you'll see every now and then we'll put a little post up with a list of things. But graphic designer, there's always things we're looking for, because there's always ideas. It's just a matter of what gets done when, kind of thing. And especially like right now, health fair wise, it's sort of winding down. The holidays is sort of a slow season for that, but in the spring it'll be picking up again. And so if you want to be helping out with health fairs, let me know if you're here in the area, and then we can do some training. And that way we can get out to even more events and spread the word about epilepsy, as well as reach more people with epilepsy.
Very good.
Those events.
Your website is on our resource page. So if you're looking for epilepsy awareness everywhere, education everywhere, that's on our resources page, and you can track Meghan down. Anything that you want to mention that I didn't ask?
Oh, I'm sure there's many, and I'll think about it half a dozen things after we get off the air here, right?
Of course.
But like I said, the biggest thing is just, hey, get out there. Being that it is Epilepsy Awareness Month, get out there, wear purple, share something on Facebook from our page, or share something about your own story if you have epilepsy or know someone with epilepsy, and just work on getting the word out there to everyone.
Very good. Thank you, Meghan.
Thank you for having us, Doug.
Yeah. Can I ask you? We've talked about all of this serious stuff. Just one lighthearted question for you.
Oh yeah.
I think I might start doing this with my guests. Just wondering about a dream vacation. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be? What do you want to do?
Well, I have so many vacations I want. In fact, I have a map on my wall.
Oh, this is a good question for you then.
Now that I have my husband, though, we need to we haven't revamped that map to include his stuff. But I will say I did sort of have one dream vacation already. When I turned 40, I went on a road trip literally across the country, and it was not just combining a lot of places I wanted to go, but in a sense it was me celebrating not just my 40th birthday, but me celebrating the fact that I could do the driving.
Very nice.
Yeah. And it was something that I always thought about doing when I retired, and I thought, why don't I do it now?
Yeah.
So I did that, but right now, like I said, trust me, we're planning Hawaii, we're planning this, we're planning that. We need one of our dream road trips is to do Route 66 from beginning to end. How's that?
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. Meghan Kennedy, thank you for coming on and sharing all about Epilepsy Education Everywhere. Like I say, it's on our website. Thank you for sharing with us.
All right. Thank you, Doug. You have a great day.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
We went after Manuel Noriega. So what happened is, my whole platoon was in front of the hangar. And then, a firefight started, and pretty much just about everybody in my platoon was shot. And that was the end, the end of one chapter and beginning of another, I was shot twice, one on my back and one in my leg, and I got to the hospital, and you still don't think, this is permanent. But eventually it kind of dawns on you, it dawned on me that this is for the long haul. This is not something that's going to be fixed, anytime soon.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
This is Walk and Roll Live with Doug Vincent and Addie Rich. With Doug Vincent and Addie Rich and Addie Rich.
Welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent. We've got Andy Rich here with us, the Wayward Traveler. So now you're back.
I am.
What do you got coming up?
Back.
Anything
I'm sorry?
coming up? Anything coming up?
Dragging out all the Christmas stuff.
Very nice. Very nice.
Now that the Christmas bug has fully been bitten and I've been inundated in Hallmark movies all weekend.
Yeah. All right.
Peter's got a thing coming. There you go.
Looking forward to that. And if you'd like to see what the lovely Addie Rich looks like, I wanted to let everybody know. I'll put your picture up on the look
Good
on
to
your
know.
face. Where's this going?
Yeah, where are we going?
Yeah. No, I just actually
There's
put both
a
of
newbie
us.
picture.
Put both of us up on our website, walkandrolllive.com. And as far as that goes, put some new events up there. Anthony's is having another event coming up called Paint and Sip. If you're interested and you're in the area of Southern California, November 15th. They provide the canvas, paint, wine, or sparkling cider, whichever you'd like, and the companionship, and we have a good time. And that is coming up on, like I say, November 15th. And it's, I think, $30 with a ticket or $20 and a $10 unwrapped toy, because they are doing a toy drive as well.
That's awesome. What
over
a good
there.
way to do that.
What else? Is there another event? It seemed like there was one other one I was going to highlight. Anyway, go to our events page. You'll see all the events that are coming up. There's a number of them I think I've talked about over the last few weeks. And then our guest for next week is Raj Garg. I think I'm saying that right. Next week, he's a polio survivor, tennis player, very accomplished. So I'm sure we'll have a fascinating interview with him next week. So make sure you check that out. Yeah. And the resources page, definitely a few more things up there. Megan and her organization, we put that up there. And I think there was a couple of more that came in. So go check that out at walkandrolllive.com/events. And if you have any ideas for the show, any guests for the show, if you'd like to be on the show, if you want to tell us
whatever. If you have any burning questions,
critiques, we'll take it all. All right. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, please. And thanks for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, and Andy Rich here too from the Aguiar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and roll live.